Welcome to Vator Box. I'm Bambi Francisco. Well, there's online dating, online speed dating, and now there's online group dating. And Ignighter is a startup out of Boulder that wants to make the dating process easier by creating groups dating. And joining me is Richard Jalichandra, CEO of Technorati, as our guest host, and Ezra Roizen as our Vator Box regular. And he's a digital media investment banker. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me. And so let's take a look really quickly at the...
We were going to come on our own, but we were too nervous.
Okay.
We needed a group.
We needed a group.
So let's start with the pitch.
And I can see from the homepage that Ignighter is all about a group of girls going out together with a group of guys. Sounds like a great concept to me. I think I'm going to log in and check out the site. So I can see from my homepage that I have an invitation to join a new Ignighter group, the West End Boulder Boys. Before deciding whether or not I'm going to join, I'd like to see their profile. So this is the profile of the West End Boulder Boys. I can see there's already 3 members in the group. There's Dan, there's Kevin, and there's Adam. Now I know these guys. I know they're pretty fun to hang out with. We go out from time to time, and they're usually pretty good wingmen. So I think I'm going to accept the invite and join the group.
You'll notice that Jason's photo has been added to the group photo. That's because we realize you probably don't have that perfect picture with everybody's face in it. So instead, we take your individual photos and aggregate them into one group photo. Now, if you did have that perfect picture with everybody's face in it, you could always override it and upload your own.
So now that I've joined the group, I'm going to dive right in and find some other groups. So right now I'm browsing for all groups near Boulder, but I really only want to be seeing female groups near Boulder. So let's filter that to search only for women. Much better. So this group here, the second one down, looks kind of interesting to me. Sounds like my type. Let's take a look at their profile. So I can see from the profile page, this group has 3 women, aged 24 to 29. It's a little old for my taste, but let's take a look at their pictures anyway. So these girls look fun. I think going out with them would be a really nice time. And I think we have a lot in common. They would do anything for a Series A, and I can give them a Series A. I wonder how they answer their profile questions.
The great part about the Ignighter profile is that filling it out is a collaborative effort. So in contrast to conventional dating sites where filling out your profile can be a burden, on Ignighter it's a fun activity that you do with your group of friends.
So I can see from the answer to their last profile question that this group is looking for guys who love both venture capital and rock and roll. Sounds like they're looking for me. I think I'm going to write on their wall to let them know I was checking out their profile and I think they're interesting. That's typically how I say hello to women. I'm feeling a little frisky today. I'd actually like to send them a message to let them know just how interested I am in them.
When you send a message on Ignighter, it goes to everybody in your group and everybody in the recipient's group. And that's great because it creates a reply-to-all conversation in which everybody can participate. Now, if you're in multiple groups like Jason, you can simply use that drop-down menu to select from which group you want to send the message.
Now let's go to my dashboard. So my dashboard is like my personal command center on Ignighter. From here, I'm shown the different groups that I'm in. I'm shown what action I need to take next in order to more fully complete my profile. I can see my schedule of previous and upcoming dates, as well as my inbox of unread messages. Now, the core value of Ignighter is finding and meeting up with other groups. Sometimes, though, I'm too shy to directly ask out another group. Through Ignighter's Find Plans feature, I can see what all the other groups in Boulder are up to tonight.
Okay, great. I thought it was very entertaining, and it really sort of told the story.
Yeah, Jason's a great guy, and it looks like he's having some success out there in Colorado. So good that he's got some opportunities for group dates.
Yeah, this was probably one of the most entertaining company profiles I've seen on Vator. Very entertaining, and of course that gets the message across.
Yeah. So what do you think about the idea of group dating, though?
I think, on one hand, I think
it's a group presentation too.
Great presentation.
Group presentation.
Yeah, it was a group presentation.
Yeah.
Everything's group with those guys. It's probably everybody goes to the bathroom together and everything. I think I think that there's, on one hand, I think it's clever. I think it's fun. I think there's going to be a role for it. I do think, though, that it is a focused strategy because there's a couple of issues that jump to mind that just would be things that would focus it versus any of these are killers. Mm-hmm. But one is, I don't know how well this works as you get older. I think as more of your friends become married and have relationships, and you get into your late 20s and early 30s and so on, it may be trickier and trickier to be able to form the groups, and one-on-one dating just becomes more practical. So when you don't need it in a way, you have it, and when you do need it as a kind of a nice way, you don't really have enough of a posse to be able to pull together to get enough wingmen and women to make it create a market there.
Online wingmen. I like
Online
that.
wingman. So I think it's their term, and so I think
Yeah, that is.
I think or they use the term. So the challenge is how do you then target the demographic and say focus on the demographic where this actually will work, which I think is it's a younger oriented product.
Yeah, I think it's a really clever idea, but that was my big question is like, where is this demographically targeted? Because the time that I would have used something like this was when I was a teenager, which opens up a whole can of worm of issues when you're doing anything online, when you're going with minors. And even for the college group, it's kind of like there was a certain point in my life where I'm doing this on my own. I don't need to be embarrassed in front of my friends.
Yeah. I mean, there is a way where you can meet people in the group, so you can join different groups. I mean, it's not like you have to form a group.
Right.
So that's just not something that you would be prepared to do.
But I mean, if I'm going to meet some schmo who I don't know, and then we're going to go on a date, and I'm competing with this guy for that girl, and I mean, the whole question becomes,
And who's going to jump on the grenade?
yeah, who's jumping on the grenade? Who's buying the drinks? I know I'm going to end up buying all the drinks, not getting any dates, and so forget it. So I think the trick is, I think as a older person.
Right.
It becomes a little trickier because now you're getting a lot of random interaction amongst people, and I think that's a trickier one to have be predictable. I do think it's a fun for that region right after college, sort of early 20s. I think there may be a nice market for this.
Is there another application for group trips?
Well, I was thinking of that too. If there was whether it was even leagues, softball leagues or something like that, just being able to trash talk against each other, something like that. But the other question I had though is like let's say you start getting a little bit more getting to know somebody, and then you want that one-on-one. And that was one thing I didn't go to the site and actually check, but that would be an interesting segue application of the site.
Right. Is there a way you can go to another private area
exactly
where you can do one-on-one stuff?
And I think my last point would be that there was an article in Inc. on Plenty of Fish. And I mean, they're doing great, and they're getting like almost 2 billion or 1.6 billion page views a month, and they're actually monetizing on ads. They're not even monetizing on the fees. Right. So their whole ad, basically an AdSense arbitrage game. So I think that there's clearly models. It's a topic people are passionate about. It's something they want to find the right match. It's a nice innovation in that game. So I think there's a business here. The question is, how do you tune it, and how do you make it something that can be potentially pretty big? Because they're starting to raise capital, so they're going to start raising capital. They got to get big.
Most of the dating sites were subscription models, though, but that seems to be coming back into favor. At least a subscription model versus an advertising model. Should they stick with advertising, or should they do both? What should they do?
Mike, this feels more freer than more expensive because you got to have a lot of people on. And
this seems more like a social network.
Seems more like that. Yeah.
And when you start talking about exits and things like that, I could actually see this being part of a social network.
And good advertising opportunities for sites like that?
Sure. Come to our bar, local ads.
Well, it's a great audience aggregator. If you put this within the confines of a social network.
But lower CPMs.
Yes, lower CPMs, but there's nothing wrong like MySpace having a couple billion ad impressions a day.
Okay, advice to the company.
I would just focus and then figure out how to deal with the issues that are going to come up around how you navigate to the individual connection, how you manage the groups and the group dynamics, and how you the demographic targeting, and then the add-on features. Can you plug in a Woomi and do other things where you create sort of use some of the other innovations in the dating world?
Okay, all right. Well, all good advice. Great, and I'm glad you guys weren't on the site checking it out because. I'm kidding.
Sign up.
Yeah, right.
No, as a group, though, we'll all do it together.
Yeah.
Great. So, we were taking a look at Ignighter. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Ezra. You've been watching Vator Box. I'm Bambi Francisco. We'll see you next time on Vator News.